So when I started, I've always been involved with things spiritual, always. Kid at 14, 12, whatever, seeing things that weren't there, etc. So my curiosity was always incredibly present. But just in this terms of this one extraordinary sentence, out of body traveling, we'll try to stick, if possible, within that loop. So how or what do we do when we journey? Well, the me of now didn't know what the me of then in, say, 60, 70, 80 knew. In 80s, yeah, but the 60, 70 bit of the growing and the joining and loving my husband and all the rest of it, did all the ducking and diving without a clue of what was going on. It was, I must have looked like crazy to my teachers. And we all have teachers, every one of us. We are entirely in the hands of greater beings. They might not look like the Mekon or Gabriel, as in reluctant angels, although I have seen Gabriel. But anyway, they might not look like that. They might just look like men and women, or they might just look like a flower, whatever. We are all in the guidance of greater souls, and thank God for it. So what we do is, the whole words out of body are completely wrong. I know I'm talking now to people who've heard me say this before, Lisa and other people who've been to my talks on this. They know that what I'm going to say, but out of body stuff is rubbish. You don't leave your body. Your body is fine. You don't go out of it. You work in conjunction with the physical. You work as a team. Because if you sort of said, and this is what frightens a lot of people, I've had people say to me, but what happens if you get out and you can't get back? Well, once upon a time, I would have said, well, you always get back. I wouldn't say that now. No. But once upon a time, I did. I would say, oh, no, well, you always get back. You know, your body will fetch you back. And to a greater degree, that's exactly what happens in the early stages. Your body works with you. Your body says, are you comfortable? And your spirit says, yeah, I'm okay. I'm looking at this. This is quite fun. And then your spirit might say, I don't like what I'm doing. So your body will say, come back. Like one day, my scenario then, all through those years of the latter years of learning, was in a great safe place, in as much as I was married to my beloved husband, and we had a good life, a safe life, a loving life, and therefore my bedroom, or our bedroom, became the kind of jump-off point for me. So as other friends of mine, one of my best friends, Gary, his jump-off point he climbs, he jumps off a thing, he works underground, he's a warrior. So the jump-off point is all, again, a collaboration between mind and desire and the greater teacher. Mine is always the same way. I roll out of my body. I'm sorry, I'm just being plastered with lots of things. I'm just trying to remove them at the moment. I effectively have created for myself a trigger which says you are out of body. And that trigger is me rolling sideways out of my body to stand up. So the physicality of me within that recognizes a kind of trigger. I need to get out of my body. And that's where the phrase, of course, is all jangled up. People say I was hanging on the ceiling. That's a famous one. Oh, I was up in the corner of the ceiling. I was bumping on the ceiling. Or I was over by the door and I could see my body. And presumably they then think I'm out of my body. But there's always a line and a guide back to that. Sometimes it can be perceived as a silver chain coming out of the sort of lower shoulders, attached down to the physical, often through the stomach. But that's just a human glance of it. Believe me, that's really not there. It's just a human identikit. They say, oh, look, oh, no, that's how I'm attached, so that's okay. So I would roll out of my body and I would stand up. Now, one of my friends, lovely woman I've known for a long, long time, was my next door neighbour in my first house in Rayleigh, in our first house in Rayleigh. And she will tell you, as she reminded me the other day, bless her, that I came to visit her. And I did. And one of the things that drives a traveller is, again, this thing of curiosity, where the conjunction of thought pattern says, okay, you're out. What are you going to do? And that's an issue that can be a bit of a problem to a beginner. It was a problem to me because I was only just out. I would think earth. So I would think, well, what can I do? And most often than not, I would go out of the window, which was always my leaping off point. So it's roll out of the body, stand up, walk round the bed and dive out through the window. A lift off point, a kind of clue to self as to what's going on. And I would often just go into the garden and feel the springy grass under my feet and smell the air and hear the wind and all of those human things that we associate with the body. They're all open to you in those kind of early stages. So I would stay very much close to my body, as it were, close to the idea of being alive in my bed next to my beloved, sleeping. And so I would keep my travels very much geographically, and I would visit my neighbours. I would go through one wall to Iris and Terry, going through the next wall to Stan and Pam, etc., going down and down, just saying hi to see what happened. And one day, I think Iris did see me, because the next day she said, you came to visit me, Dodie. You gave me an awful fright. And I said, I'm awful sorry. So that was what I did. I would stick with the people I loved and knew. It was a kind of safety guard. But all the while, and we moved there in 76. So all the while I was revving up to go in other places. Now, when I say that, that sounds as if I'm moving in stages through months, but that's not quite so. That's how it felt. But there would be another me who would be away with the fairies, literally, gone somewhere. The braver me, the kind of the Christopher Columbus, the person who wants to explore. That me, which is present in all of you two, would be gone, out, finding out, and always, never alone, always with your tutor. I know that spiritualists use the word guide, and it's a word I used to use a lot. I try not to use that word because it's confusing. A guide suggests someone who is there to interpret the way you should go, as with, say, going through, say, a pyramid, you'd need a guide, wouldn't you? You couldn't do that alone. Or going through tunnels, you would need someone. And a guide suggests, but really, spiritual tutors don't do that. They leave you to make the greater judgment. They are there always to protect you, but they are not there to impede you, and they are certainly not there to tell you what to do. No, that's not their function. They wait for you to find out. Thus, if you get yourself in a tricky situation, which I have done so many, many times,